Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and horse people. Today I'm coming to you with Too Much Affection, My Little Pony fanfiction done by Draconian Soul. I'm going to be reading in a deeper tone this time because, sometimes it's difficult, at least from my perspective, while listening to my videos, to differentiate between me and the characters who are talking. So, just to let you know. Anyway, enough being around the bush, let's get started. Too Much Affection by Draconian Soul. Spike, could you be a dear and clean up this fabric?
The silver mare levitated her pink cushion and stored it on the shelf, making sure she put everything back in its place. Trailing behind her was the love-struck purple drake, following every one of her requests.
Yes, my lady.
Spike gushed, eager to help his goddess with anything she needed. He picked up Rarity's organized chaos and placed them on the racks. He loved being around Rarity. Every moment the young dragon was around her felt like his heart skipped a beat, and he longed to be around her more and more.
Done,
he announced proudly as Rarity beamed with joy, patting him on the head.
Thank you, Spike. You've been a big help today. If only a certain some pony else was as reliable as you were.
Rarity signed, referring to her little sister.
It's nothing,
Spike blushed, rocking his head back and forth.
I'm always willing to help. Is there anything else you could possibly need?
Rarity put a hoof to her chin and pondered for a moment.
No, I think you've done enough for today. Are you sure?
Spike nearly begged. Spike continued nearly begging for the chance to help Rarity further.
I mean, I could do the dishes, or maybe your bathroom needs some cleaning, or...
Spike was interrupted by a soft hoof to his lips, silencing him.
It's fine, Spike, Rarity said warmly. You've done enough today already. Go home and rest, okay?
Her eyes were nearly hypnotizing to Spike. He couldn't look away from her dazzling gaze, fabricating a mental picture far more beautiful than the situation he was in.
Okay,
he replied dreamily.
And for your hard work in the past few days, I think you deserve something special for your efforts.
Nah, it's alright. There's no need to... He lost his train of thought as Rarity levitated a radiant, clean-cut amethyst over to him. His mouth was salivating uncontrollably over the treat that was dangling over him. Rarity couldn't help but chuckle.
I knew my little helper would appreciate such a divine gem. I hope you enjoy your snack, Spike.
Her silky words sent shivers down his spine. Spike found it hard to put words together coherently and started to mumble.
Thanks, it's really... nice.
The purple dragon managed to stammer out, too stunned at both the beauty of the gem and Rarity. She just warmly smiled at him.
Well, you'd better be off. It's getting late, and I'm pretty sure certain some pony wouldn't like her #1 assistant being out all night, would she?
Spike groaned at the realization. He knew how Twilight was when he didn't get back to the agreed time to help around the library.
You're right. I guess I should get going then. See you tomorrow, then? But of course,
Rarity smiled, waving at his departure.
Have a good night, Spiky.
Yeah, good night, Spike replied, walking out the boutique and into the darkening streets. He held the gem to his chest and sighed dreamily, swooning over the unicorn that stole his heart. With a goofy grin set on his face, he merrily skipped towards the library. As Spike was heading home, he couldn't help but think about Rarity making him happier and happier. The time spent with her made Spike jump with joy and sent his soul ablaze.
Hello, Twilight,
he exclaimed enthusiastically, causing Twilight to smirk a little.
Well, looks like Romeo had a good time today, Twilight teased, setting down a book she was reading. Why shouldn't I be? Spike gasped, shocked that Twilight would suggest otherwise. I mean, I get to be around the most beautiful pony in all of Equestria. She's radiant, stunning, just out of this... Spike, you're monologuing again. Twilight rolled her eyes with a slight smile. I can't help it. It's almost unbearable for me not to be around her. I mean, you wouldn't understand since you don't really have anyone interested in you, but I feel like I always need to be there.
Twilight groaned. Spike's Twilight groaned at Spike's intense admiration, as well as his quip towards her love life.
Spike, you don't think you might be a little too eager to see her?
I don't know what you mean, Spike replied innocently, setting down his amethyst in a safe area so it wouldn't shatter.
You visit her every day for the past few weeks, and every time she goes shopping, you offer to carry her bags home. Don't you think that's a little excessive?
I'm just being a gentle Drake whenever possible, he defended loudly. There's nothing wrong with that.
You even offered to help her give her a bath.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You even offered to help give her a bath before.
This accusation made Spike blush a little.
Well, I offered to give you baths too. That's different, Twilight retorted. How? I'm giving you a bath out of the kindness of my heart when you can't reach those hard-to-reach places, so I don't see why I couldn't do the same for her.
Not like she accepted it anyways, Spike grumbled, upset with that fact.
Well, gee, I wonder why. Spike sighed and sat down on the table with Twilight, listening to what she needed to say. Listen, Spike, I know you admire her, but you have to learn when enough is enough. She might not tell you this, but you can get a little too affectionate at times. It might disturb her a bit. Wouldn't you be annoyed after a while if Rarity constantly bothered you all day, every day?
Spike thought of that possibility. A vivid picture of Rarity nuzzling the little Drake eagerly brought a dopey face to his grin.
Oh, Spiky Wikey, I never want to leave your side. Can you keep me company for the rest of the day? Pretty please.
The cheesy dialogue playing in his head caused his cheeks to warm up as his grin began to spread more. Twilight knew what was going on in his brain, and planted a hoof on her face.
You know what? Forget I even asked that question.
Twilight sighed, giving up on trying to explain to Spike.
At any rate, it's getting late. You should get ready for bed.
What? Spike, still in a daze, clumsily responded to the purple mare.
Oh, yeah, sure. Snapping out of his fantasies, he trailed upstairs and headed towards the bed. While Twilight fell asleep with ease, Spike was laying in the bed thinking back on what Twilight had said. Wouldn't you be annoyed after a while if Rarity constantly bothered you all day, every day? His mind began to filter the filler and form the words in his own way. Rarity, all day, every day.
He once again began to smile, snuggling into his covers.
Yeah, being with Rarity all day, every day, he said to himself softly. But she doesn't show the same interest in me as I do her. There's no way she would agree with me for that long. She would agree to be with me for that long.
He sighed in defeat. Staring out the window, a noticeably bright star twinkled in the sky, illuminating the darkness. An innocent sliver of hope beamed onto his face as he closed his eyes and used the star as his wishing tool. Eventually, the young Drake fell into a deep slumber, with a grin still planted on his face.
As you wish upon a star, where... I forget the rest of the song. That's not part of the fic, that's just something I put in there.
Spike began to grunt. The rays from the sun illuminated the room. Eyes half closed, he sat up in bed and rubbed his eyes, trying to get rid of any tiredness he still had. He groggily got out of bed and headed towards downstairs to get him something to drink. Twilight was already down, eating a salad at the table.
So, I see someone decided to wake up finally, Twilight said in a smirky tone, causing Spike to roll his eyes in irritation. Yeah, I'll deal with your sarcasm after I get some cocoa. The smirky tone was returned in full, as Spike headed to the kitchen to grab a mug to boil him some water for his cocoa. Using flames, he heated the pan with quickened pace. Knock, knock. Spike, could you get that for me? Twilight asked. Not now, my hands are kind of full. You know, cocoa and such, replied Spike sarcastically, ignoring Twilight's request. Twilight mumbled under her breath and went to go answer the door. She swung the front door open, surprised to see that Rarity was looking inside a bit more lively than usual. "Hello, Twilight," Rarity greeted her friend. "Rarity, you're here awfully early," Twilight replied. "Did you need anything here?" Rarity cleared her throat. "Yes, actually." She leaned in, looking around eagerly, causing Twilight to stare at her in confusion. "Is Spiky in here? I need to ask him something." Twilight blinked slightly. Rarity has never actively sought out Spike, at least not in the manner she was doing. "Yeah, he's here. I'll see if he's not too busy anymore when I tell him Rarity's looking for him." Twilight flinched as she heard shattering glass from the kitchen. Spike swiftly ran towards the front door to confront the mayor of his dreams with love-struck eyes. "Hello, Rarity," Spike enthusiastically greeted, stumbling slightly over his own words. "Did you want me for something?" "Well, sweetie, if you don't mind, I'm going gem collecting this morning, and I could use someone as helpful as you to help me dig them up. That is, if you don't mind." Oh, she sounds like Fluttershy now. "Mind? Of course I don't mind," Spike answered enthusiastically. His eagerness was rewarded with Rarity picking him up and nudging his cheeks. "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you!" Rarity squealed in delight. Spike felt as if his heart was going to burst out of his chest. "Come on, let's go ahead and get started, shall we?" "Yeah, sure," Spike dreamily responded, practically floating behind her. "See you later, Twilight." "Wait, Spike, you didn't—" Before she could finish, the door closed in her face. "Clean up the mess you made." She let out an exasperated sigh. "I wonder why Rarity was so happy to see Spike," she thought to herself. "I mean, she's always genuinely very pleasant to him, but she was practically gushing over him." She decided to shrug it off and focus on the bigger issue at hand. She grabbed the mop and broom and headed towards the kitchen. "Don't expect me to clean up after you again, especially since you broke my favorite mug." With combined effort, Rarity and Spike gathered a vast assortment of gems from the local mountain range. The haul was bountiful, and was surely able to keep Rarity supplied for months to come. "We found quite the bounty today, didn't we?" she commented, smiling at the purple drake. "Thanks to you, of course, Spiky Wikey." Spike's cheeks turned red a bit. It's nothing really." He kicked the ground, giddily. "I guess we should start heading back, so you can finish whatever it is you're doing." "Why do you sound like I'm sending you off, Spike?" she asked, in a puzzled manner. "Well, you generally like to have your space when you do your fashion pieces, and as much as I want to help—" Rarity interrupted him by placing a gem inside of his mouth. Spike stared at her wide-eyed, wondering as she came closer to him. "If you want to help, I won't stop you. I was actually hoping you could accompany me for the rest of the day." "Really?" he muffled with the gem still in his mouth. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Spike, it isn't polite to talk with your mouth full," Rarity giggled, as Spike's purple cheeks soon were engulfed in red. "And of course, I figured you might want to help me, and, to be honest, I could use some company. I even took the liberty to prepare those diamond-crusted cookies you seem to like. So, would you like to spend the rest of the day with me?" Spike couldn't believe what he was hearing. Rarity, the mare he dreamed about constantly, the one he couldn't get enough of, wanted to spend the day with him. Spike nodded his head with vigor, with the gem still stuffed in his mouth. "Well then, what are we still doing here?" she stated, lifting up Spike with her magic and placing him on her back. "We still have the whole day ahead of us, darling." "Well, I figure that's a good place to stop for now. I don't want it to be too long like my original video. Otherwise I'll get really tired and everything will just start to get messed up. I didn't really stick with the deep voice thing, but I guess that's fine. Anyway, see you next time. Immune to Gravity out.